Hello, good evening, and welcome to The Probe. My name is Carlos Coloni. We are live on DSTV, channel 421, GoTV, channel 125, Joy 99.7 FM, and Love 99.5 FM. We are also streaming live on all our social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and X at Joy News on TV, and around the world on myjoyonline.com. The show is interactive. You can share your thoughts with us live on our social media handles at Joy News on TV. Tonight, we ask, is Ghana slowly losing the fight against the proliferation of illicit small arms? And why is gun violence becoming the norm? Just this past week, a pregnant woman tragically lost her life when unknown gunmen allegedly opened fire on a group returning from a prayer session in Kupalgo, Tatali, Sanguli district of the northern region, leaving two others critically injured. Also this week in Kumasi, a 16-year-old student of Adventist Senior High School allegedly took a locally manufactured pistol loaded with BB ammunition to school. While attempting to show it off, he accidentally shot a classmate, leaving the victim injured. Additionally, just yesterday, a number of residents were reported dead in a gunfight actually between the youth of Wiamuasi and Ntoso in the Ashanti region. And remember that back in February this year, 3 mobile money vendors were shot dead in separate attacks in Kwadaso, Krofom, and Manso Asaman, all in the Ashanti region. These are just a few of the incidents of illicit gun violence that have either been reported to the police or come to the public attention. What is even more concerning, however, is the alarming rise in illegal miners reportedly arming themselves with increasingly sophisticated firepower. Let me paint a picture of the situation for you with some graphics that you soon have on your screen. And you see that at least gun violence incident in the past week, you see at least 3 incidents just this past week, and 3 people were injured. And you can see it is estimated that about 5 persons are dead so far this week. That's what we know. And just like I said earlier, 4 killed in a gang fight at Wiomwasi in the Ashanti region. We are yet to actually confirm that number, but a report from the ground, from residents, is painting a picture about 4 people that have actually been killed there. And like I mentioned earlier, also a pregnant woman was killed, 2 others injured by unknown gunmen at Kupalgo in the northern region. And also the 2nd-year student that who was shot by a classmate at Adas in the Ashanti region in Kumasi. That just this past week. Now, let's look at the small firearms in Ghana. And that's the figure you are seeing on the screen. It's 2,280,000. That's the number, civilian held firearms in Ghana. That's the estimated number of firearms we have circulating in the system here in the country. Now, out of that number, 46% are unregistered. Out of the number we just quoted, 46% of those small firearms are unregistered. Now, let's look at the small firearms in Ghana and break this down in terms of the civilian, the registered and unregistered. The total is what you see in the green, 2.28 million firearms in the system. Now, that figure you see in blue is the registered one. 54% is what is registered or has been registered according to the Small Arms Survey 2023. But 46% is unregistered. Now, violent death count with the use of this small firearms on average, Ghana records as much as 700 violent deaths annually every year. That's according to the Small Arms Survey 2023. And so 700 Ghanaians actually lose their lives every year through these small arms. And 56% violent deaths in Ghana are from firearms, as we put it out there. Violent death count firearms, 56%, according to the Small Arms Survey 2023. Now, let's break this down for you in the West African sub-region. That's a 2023 update from the Small Arms Survey report. And you see Nigeria. Nigeria is leading there in terms of death, people who have died from small arms, about 37,035. That's Nigeria. The next highest number is Mali with 4,489, and Côte d'Ivoire follows in that direction, 3,697, and then comes Burkina Faso, 3,126, and Niger, which is 2,990. Togo is also recording some number, which is around 908. Look at Ghana in red. We are recording 696, and it goes all the way to Sierra Leone. That's the West African picture with regards to small arms and the death toll in this sub-region. And so the urgent question tonight is, how did we get here? And what does this mean for Ghana's national security and peace? When I return, I'll be speaking to the Acting Executive Secretary of the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons, Dr. Adam Bona, who will be joining me in studio. Also joining this conversation later will be Peter Tobu. He is a member of the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament and MP for Wa West. We have answers after this breather. Please stay. Welcome back. Before we zoom into the conversation, let me take you to Kumasi to speak with my colleague Nana Yaojima, who has been reporting on some of these occurrences in the region. Also joining on Zoom is my colleague Erastus Asari Donko to paint a picture of the illicit arms situation among illegal miners. Nana, how common is the situation in the Ashanti region?
Carlos, this year we are recording a number of incidents involving guns. Now, gun culture, by what we are seeing this year, is becoming a thing in the Ashanti region. Gradually, it's gaining ground. Not long ago, early this year, we recorded some deaths involving some mobile money vendors. About 3 were recorded in the Ashanti region. And in about 2 of these incidents, guns were involved. Some people were found, or the people who died in these killings were actually shot. So that should tell you that some light weapons were used in these robberies. Now, police have arrested some people they believe were behind the mobile money the killing of mobile money vendors in the Ashanti region. So it means that some investigations are being done, and it's unclear if police were able to retrieve these weapons that were used in the killings that were recorded when it comes to the mobile money issue. Now, on Friday, we also got wind of an incident at the Adventist Senior High School in Bantama in the Ashanti region. Now, as you said earlier, the incident involved a 16-year-old who had taken a gun to the class, and at break time, according to the report that we are getting from the school authorities, he brought out this gun to show off or to brandish. Now, the students or the colleagues in class were arguing over the functionality of this weapon. That caused the students to actually pull the trigger, and it resulted in the injury of another student, a female student in the same class. Now, the police have been able to pick up this student who was involved in the accident. The information we are getting from school authorities is that the victim is also in stable condition now. A surgery was conducted on the victim. She was actually shot in the face. Now, a surgery has been conducted and she's recovering. Now, the police, according to a statement that they released, is that the students who picked this weapon from the father. So, from the initial investigation the police has done, the pistol, the locally manufactured pistol that was brought to class, was owned by the father of the students. Now, the police, according to them, are still looking for, they are hunting down the father. So if the father is gotten, that is when the police can actually ascertain if this gun or this pistol is actually registered or not.
Right.
Now, a day after, there was another incident recorded. Now, there was gang violence between youth of Wiamoase and Ntonso here in the Ashanti region. The youth of Ntonso had actually gone for a funeral at Wiamoase, and it's unclear why it's degenerated into a gang fight between these two youth groups. Now, the information that we are getting is that some youth were seen with some locally manufactured guns, and they shot sporadically, and in the course of that, about 2 people were injured. Now, this actually infuriated the youth of Wiamoase, who were able to overpower those with the guns. And the information that we are picking is that there were some youth in Wiamoase who also had guns on them.
So the two parties had guns.
Exactly. That is the information that we've been able to pick from the community. So they also had guns, and through that, they were able to overpower the visiting youth from Ntonso, and that resulted in some deaths. At the moment, it's unclear the number of people who are dead, but some people are still battling for their lives in the hospital. So these are the 3 incidents that have become topical in the Ashanti region when it comes to gun violence. In a matter of about a month or 2, we've recorded this number of attacks that guns were involved. Earlier, somewhere last month, the light weapons and the commission, they visited the Ashanti regional minister, and the minister indicated that they have a sense that there are a lot of weapons in the Ashanti region. So he wanted the commission to work on these weapons. The commission actually promised to do that, but since then we are yet to see any results or the impact of the work that the commission say they'll be doing in the Ashanti region.
Right. Before I let you go, I'm interested in the 2 communities. Is this the first time we are seeing issues of gun violence in those 2 communities, and what could be the reason?
Between the 2 communities, this is the first time that we are recording such an incident. But from the information that we've been picking from the grounds, these are communities with some...
Well, we seem to have lost my colleague there. But we'll try and reconnect the lines to him. Let me bring in Erastus Asare Donkor. He's been doing a lot of work when it comes to the illegal minings, and we are learning that these illegal miners themselves are arming themselves. So he's been to so many forests. And Erastus, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us here. What can you tell us about the actual situation regarding this illicit arms in our forest?
I have seen the situation get worse each passing year. In fact, let me start from 2018, when we were in the Apamprama Forest Reserve. Precisely, we were following, I was embedded on the Interministerial Task Force. In fact, when we went to one particular site, we see 16 pump-action guns and quite a number of other assault rifles. We had AK-47 assault rifles and a number of ammunition to go with them. Some of them brand new, brought in by the Chinese. Now, you ask yourself where all these weapons are at the moment. In fact, some years down the line, I've been asking the same question, and nobody seems to tell me what they did with those weapons.
Right.
And since then, when you go to the Manso area, for example, the Chinese who invaded the forest and other areas in that area brought quite a number of these pump-action weapons, some of these rifles, to guard their concessions and all that. When some of them were leaving, they left many of the weapons behind. And so in that area, I would say has become a bandit town. If you remember the bullion van that was ambushed and sprayed with bullets, that was on that Manso stretch. And since then, that highway has become a robbery spot for quite a number of people, the youth whose lands have now been degraded and they have nothing to do.
Right.
Now, along the line, 2020, 2021, down to January, as we're speaking, all the mining sites that we have visited, you find people now arming themselves. And so when we went to the Asananyo Forest Reserve, those who abducted us had a number of assault rifles. All of them were holding rifles, over 10 of them. All of them were holding different kinds of weapons. Some of them pump action, some of them assault rifles, AKs, and others. And since then, every barrier mounted by the illegal miners have quite a number of weapons they are holding. And if you've seen the videos on social media of these illegal miners, some of who are brandishing their guns and even showing them in videos that they themselves have shot. And people are ready to fire. So I would say that we are getting into the militancy era where we are seeing quite a number of weapons within the Galamsey field. If care is not taken, the more they bring in these weapons to protect themselves, when mining is done in those vicinities, the weapons are left behind and are used to perpetrate other crimes.
Right. So that's the picture there from my colleague Erastus Asare Donkor. And thank you so much for those updates, Erastus. Now, let me come in studio to engage the acting secretary, executive secretary of the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons, Dr. Adam Bona. Grateful to have you here in studio. How have you been?
Not bad.
And your commission, since you joined, what can you tell us? What's going on there?
Well, since I joined, good evening to viewers, myself, and members of my commission, my management team, Mr. Asante, and JB, and the rest. Well, since I joined, a lot of, energy, a lot of, restructuring, and a lot of things going on.
Right.
I have already visited, one or two of my, call them border offices. I've been to the ports, and I'm yet to go to other places. And so we are in a few of our regions and border areas in this country. So far, I would say it hasn't been easy because we are still waiting to be resourced. We still don't have money.
Your commission doesn't have money?
Not just the commission, I think. Yeah, but let me just speak about my commission. Yes, my commission doesn't have money.
Right.
We don't have money because, after the change of government, controller, the Ministry of Finance by, through controller swept every account. And my commission, I call it is not an orphan, it is a buried commission.
A buried commission.
It's buried. You see, an orphan could still be living. So, but the president, it is his first State of the Nation address, promised to resource the commission. And we also have my minister, couldn't have gotten a good minister like him, Muttaka Mubarak, Honorable. He's already visited all his agencies, including, as you know, we are under the Interior Ministry.
Exactly.
With the little to no much material resource, the team at the commission, including all the regions we are in, the border areas we are working to ensure that our mandate is achieved.
I understand you have about 54 area offices. Is that right?
Not 54. We have border areas, and we are in almost all the border areas in about 7 regions. Unfortunately, there were a lot of security recruitment in the previous administration, but my commission was not given a single slot to recruit.
So what is your staff strength?
Well, our staff strength is still less than 100.
100.
We are less than 100, and you can imagine the enormity of the work. It means that you would have a few people doing the work of, you have one person doing the work of sometimes 4 people, which makes it extremely very difficult.
Right.
You get it? And so, and coupled with the fact that we are a quasi-security agency, we should have been a full-fledged security agency by a letter that was written 11 years ago. But I think that was not implemented. And so I have had a conversation with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and the agencies. My minister has promised that the pending bill, we have a bill that was sponsored by the Germans, the BICC, we have ECOWAS, EU.
The arms bill?
Arms bill, a new arms bill. I mean, I've been with the commission for a while.
Okay.
You know, call it about 8 years. And so, in and out, not working directly with the commission. I was part of the drafting the bill. The current IGP was part of the drafters who drafted the bill. And so the issues we have today, which
we'll come to
the reason why you invited me here is because we have, maybe I'm sure I'll let you talk. It's because we have a law, an arms law that is probably older than everybody in this building.
Right.
It's over 50 years old. Nations, you see when you were sharing, I was in the viewing room,
right,
when you shared the figures.
Yeah.
Sierra Leone came here to learn from us. You see, even Liberia didn't appear. These are 2 war-torn countries who have come out of a bad situation. And so if there are 2 countries that have come out of a bad situation today, gun-related crimes are the lowest. And they came here to learn from us. They came to see what we were doing with the drafting of our new bill. They went and quickly passed theirs. We haven't passed ours.
Right.
It's been lip service. I mean, over the period by the previous government, I chased and chased and chased, and the bill was never passed into law. But fortunately, the president and my minister have promised that the bill would be passed into law.
When?
I mean, hopefully by May, next month.
We'll come back to talk about what that bill actually contains, what it seeks to cure. But having traveled around the country the first few months that you've been in office, what is the picture like in terms of statistics?
Well, it's that bad. I mean, you see, I was an analyst first before being appointed.
Right.
Now, most of the things I do behind the scene, talking to my minister, engaging colleague security heads and all that.
Right.
And so it's not everything I can put out. But you see, the situation is worse. The situation is bad. I mean, that is how it is. Listen, the statistics you shared is far worse than that, because we haven't done anything for the last, call it 6, 7, 8 years. Not much has been done.
Right.
Not much has been done. And I can confidently tell you that because I've been part of
the process,
I know not much has been done. Some of us pushed and pushed and pushed. Go to Galamsey areas. Almost even women, older women are holding pump action guns. And 10 out of 10 pump action guns in these Galamsey areas, no license.
How do these pump action guns actually get into the country?
They get into the country through smuggling. They smuggle them in. They smuggle them in. People bring them in. And that is. And you see, most of these weapons got into the country in the past. A lot is being done at the moment to ensure that this flow of weapons, illicit weapons into the country.
Right.
At the moment, my team at the ports, fortunately, we are also the only agency that has the weapon detection system.
At the ports?
At the ports.
Which of the port?
The Tema port. Most of, Tema port, brings...
Because of the cargoes?
Yes.
All right.
So we are the only team that has got the weapon detection system.
How many of your staff are at the Tema port now?
We should be probably about 10, but we are increasing the number.
Okay.
We have staff that we currently have, fortunately have had, I think Customs have given us space within the Golden Jubilee terminal now. What do you call MPS? We have staff there. We've doubled the number now, and then the other locations. And so, before the change at the Customs, the Commissioner of Customs, we had an engagement to begin to have our team at the various airports. And so we are in the process of getting, our teams all over all our airports.
Right.
Because this is the problem. It's not just from, what do you call that, Tema Port or Takoradi Port.
Okay.
We have people who also attempt to bring them in through
the land ports.
The land port and all that. And so these are things that we are working on. But we need resource. We need, agencies. We need probably the UNDP and other agencies have been of significance.
But you should be able to convince us that indeed the problem is huge in terms of statistics. We know the problem exists, right? So you're able to give us some numbers, for instance, the inflow of these illicit arms from, say, the Tema Port into the country. Do you have any figures?
No, you see, where I sit now, I won't be able to give you all the data because of the privileged information I have.
Right.
In the past, I could have probably said this, but now
you are the man at the top.
You get it.
Right.
For national security reasons, it's not everything I can put out.
Okay.
But I can say, from the statistics you shared, from the data you shared, the situation isn't any better. Today, we are nuancing also, people have been shot. Listen, now I spoke to Tuobu, Peter Lantene Tuobu, Honorable, whilst on my way here. His chairman at Wa West has just been shot in the Upper West through the eyes by bandits who are holding firearms. I'm sure if he's listening to us, he will confirm what I'm saying. And so they are the Wa Regional Hospital.
As we speak.
As we speak.
Right.
And so you see, it is becoming worse, but it is because previously nothing was seriously done. And so for me, I am thankful that I've been put where I am. And now I have to go beyond the talking and get
the work done.
And get the work done.
Right.
I have to go beyond the talking. Fortunately, I have a minister who wants to get the work done even faster than I would want to. And every day we're on the phone talking about some of these things. And the sector agencies, see, the problem is that all over the world, police fights general crime. In the past, police used to test people if you needed a driver's license. Police performed custom duties, they performed immigration duties, they performed every duty in terms of, but countries have grown. There were people, we have, a lot of people now on earth.
Right.
And so policies and laws have been made to ensure that the police all over the world performs
specific duties away from the arms.
No, general duties.
Okay.
We call them general crime duties. While specific entities like us are clothed with power to perform so that if a gun is fired, yes, the police would have the duty to deal with it. But we would also have a bigger duty to ensure that the gun that was fired, the guy who did it is prosecuted, he's arrested, who sold the gun and all that. That is what we currently don't have.
What is your mandate?
Our mandate now is sensitization and doing all the soft things. The hard things, we are not able to do. Soft things like education, marking and marking of the weapons, tracing of the weapons, and and those things.
So that brings me to interagency collaboration. Are you able to work with the Ghana Police Service, for
we
instance,
do.
to understand, have statistics? Say in this region we have X number of unregistered arms, for instance. Are you working?
No, you see, the challenge is that in the underworld, you can only conduct various research to be able to, even that, it's usually not accurate. Not accurate. Because you see, if Erastus, who I don't envy him, the kind of job he does, going into these Galamsey areas and he's still surviving, speaks volumes of how courageous he is.
Right.
If you ask an ordinary soldier to go into these Galamsey areas alone, he won't go. If you ask a police officer who has been trained with firearms, he won't go, but that is where these weapons are. Bandits are holding them. And so it will be difficult to answer you directly. Difficult to tell you how many weapons, probably exist in most of these communities. But what I can say is that the situation is not getting any better. But fortunately, the President, His Excellency, has promised
to do something about it.
The Minister has promised that this is going to be done. I was in Parliament with my team, together with my minister and the rest, to defend our budgets, the recent budget hearing. And one of the things that came up had to do with, the uncontrolled gun regime we currently have. And the MPs actually promised that they are going to ensure that.
What is wrong with the current law?
The current law, you see, the current law, first of all, how do you sell a weapon to someone without training the person how to fire the weapon? We don't have firing ranges. We don't have them. You see this young, first of all, you see, we don't have, the current law doesn't deal with what do you call manufacturing and all that. This young boy who picked the father's sidearm.
Right.
The sidearm is a pistol. What do you call locally manufactured pistol? It's a weapon you can't even register. So you ask the question. It's a weapon that is a no-no. It means the father was in possession of an illicit weapon to start with, if you ask me. Okay. So to begin with, there is everything wrong with that law. Okay. And what is wrong with the law had to do with from either importation to distribution, storage, and, usage and repair. And so, for instance, if you have, let's say, a family member who has a weapon registered and that person dies, and probably the weapon is not included in the deceased person's, let's say LA, or he didn't put it on his, what do you call that?
The will?
His will.
Yeah.
That weapons would melt into the system and it will come back to hurt all of us. And so we have, pockets of...
So the law, the current legal framework is not as effective.
50 years, come on.
50 years.
More than 50 years.
Right.
I mean, even our current constitution. I mean, I was old enough to have voted the referendum that brought the constitution into place. The current constitution is undergoing review. May his soul rest in peace. Professor Atta Mills, the late Atta Mills, actually reviewed it through that Tuguba and Co. If we had passed it, maybe we would have been seeing another review today. But fortunately, the current president promised he's going to review. So we shouldn't have an arms law that is older than majority of the people. See, majority of the people who are armed today, that law is older than them. How do you pass a law that is older than me? Most of them don't even know they should register. Okay. Most of them don't know where to go to. Most of them are buying firearms. And I can tell you that, you see, I'm still an analyst. I tell people that, you see, I used to be blunt and I'll continue to be blunt, but this time around, I will do it in a manner that will not cause any challenge.
Because you're in government?
Not because I'm in government, because now I have the opportunity to speak directly to my colleagues in government.
Right.
I have the opportunity. In the past, now I have the opportunity to deal with it.
Okay.
And I believe it's the reason why the president put me there, to ensure that this canker of proliferation of firearms and illicit weapons, explosives that recently happened at, what's the name? Odumase, Konongo Odumase. Yeah. They are selling dynamite like candies.
They are selling dynamite like candies.
Like candies.
What do you mean exactly?
I mean, what I mean is that, like, my phone. I go to any of the mall, I buy a phone. And so if you go to Konongo, where the thing happened, these guys were selling these explosives, obviously because of the illicit mining that is taking place. They use it to blast the rocks. So to them, it is about selling these explosives without knowing that these are deadly weapons. And when it triggered, you saw what happened. Unfortunately, some colleagues of ours in the fire service were affected. People died in that thing. Go to Obuasi and other locations where, what do you call it,
the mining
Galamsey is taking place. People are selling them. People have them in their rooms.
This current law we have, is there any regulation in the sale of this dynamite thing?
No, you see, it's supposed to be controlled. But you have other agencies who might not be security agencies dealing with these things, who might not have the expertise dealing with them. The bill we have now addresses all that.
Tell us much about this bill. It appears to be the final pill that will cure this illicit situation we have.
The bill is supposed to ensure that from we as Ghanaians, you go to Alavanyo in Konya, they are one of the expert manufacturers of firearms in this country. If you want some of the best weapons that are produced in Ghana, you go to Alavanyo in Konya area, you would get it. These people are there. So, and not just Alavanyo in Konya, go to Tamale, go to what you Konkompe, go to other locations. People are producing them. We don't have a law that trains these people, that captures them as people who are supposed to be eking out a living from these weapons.
Right.
If this law is passed today, all these people are going to be captured. They will be trained and retrained, captured on the database. He produces a weapon. It won't melt into the dark space. It is captured. It is marked well. We know where the weapon is going to. When the weapon is fired in, let's say, Kwame Danso or Atebubu or any of these locations, you know that there's a gun manufacturer there and this could be his gun that was fired.
Right.
You're able to trace, but at the moment, it doesn't address it.
Okay.
Also, when you talk about, what do you call it, storage, you talk about dealership, you talk about what repair, and there are several things that we are currently not doing because we don't have the legal framework
Yeah.
that should deal with it. And so, also, most importantly, if you were to buy a weapon today, where do you go to practice shooting?
Are you saying we don't have any
No, we don't.
range?
The only place you can do that could be within the police facility,
Or the
military, which is for them.
Right.
It's not for civilian purposes. But civilians are arming. So it is right to have private shooting range where people go to. You are buying a weapon, you are trained to be sure that, in fact, your senses are all intact to be able to shoot. You don't have, maybe you are somebody who can, you are not...
you don't have any mental
you
challenge.
don't have any mental challenge.
Right.
The law addresses all these issues.
So the law is actually proposing...
The bill, it's not a law yet.
The bill is proposing that we have a shooting range, civilian one.
Civilian, yes.
Yeah, you talked about the mental aspect of it. How are we curbing that? Because all kinds of people have arms.
Oh, exactly. And so what happens is that before a weapon is sold to you, you might have to pass a certain test. If you don't pass the test, I mean, you are sitting here. You might have gone to GIJ. I didn't go to GIJ.
Right.
And so if you hire me to come and sit here and do this job, I will fail. Okay. So if I'm not a trained, firearm person, and you give me a firearm, I would endanger myself and endanger other people. Look at this young person who shot in the school. And so you see, it's a canker we must deal with. And so it encompasses it. As of today, listen, you know, we got to a point where everybody wants to import, what do you call it, a bullion van.
Right.
An armored vehicle. You know, a bullion van is an armored vehicle.
Sure.
And people don't know that these are war materials. Put 1,000 bullion vans in this country and ask yourself, or maybe 5,000 or 20,000 bullion vans in Ghana. And ask yourself, how many armored cars do our military and the Ghana police, how many do they have? And so if people are allowed to bring them in.
What is the danger there?
The danger is that if the day they decide to take it out on us, you'll be shooting and they'll be coming. You cannot immobilize such a vehicle. You'll be shooting him, he'll be coming. He will run over you, he will shoot at you, you can't get back to him.
Okay.
You get what I'm trying to say?
So that should also be regulated.
It's all part of what
the new bill seeks to address.
And so the new bill is... The competent authority still remains the Minister of the Interior. We do what we have to do, take you through the process, make sure things are done, and then the competent authority in terms of importation and other things still remains with the Minister.
But before even the bill comes, we have the police there, we have the customs, we have the military. Are there not some agencies that can actually address some of these things?
No, they are addressing them.
Are you saying that it's only the law?
They are addressing them. They are addressing them.
But then how come we have this huge number?
The trouble is that my brother, the IGP Yohono, is busy fighting general crime. When somebody is slapped, you call the IGP. When somebody is threatens you with death, you call the IGP. Everything that is done, general crime, is supposed to be dealt. I mean, and it's just like Ghana. It's universal.
So what is your proposal on that particular?
No, so with the bill, just like, immigration functions were part of the police.
Right.
I mean, this was, they see that it not quite long ago. Immigration functions were part of the police. Even narcotics. Those days, the police were in charge of narcotics. But you see, nations have grown. We have signed on to several treaties that takes us to the realm where we are supposed to have had the Arms Commission that reports and ensures that these things work. And so when a firearm is fired or someone is shot at and you call me, I will tell you that, well, you see, I might be able to report to the police, but me as a me, I might not be able to do much. Because the legal, the law covering what I do does not allow me to do some of the things.
So if we have this bill passed now, what will be the difference between what you're going to be doing now and what currently pertains?
What will be the difference is that everything firearm, where you have to deal in what you know, assault rifles are not supposed to be part of our status quo. Pump action, sidearms, and weapons that can be in the hands of civilians, we would process it. Those ones that the minister, who is the competent authority, must give approval. We make recommendations, and the approval is given for importation of a sort to be done. And so the difference is going to be, we then are able to train people. We then are able to regulate who is bringing these firearms in. At the moment, you see, we are also the only institution that has the capacity and the expertise to trace weapons and mark weapons. Recently, we were in the Babu Lomos Palace.
Yeah, so that you also in Kumasi.
Yes, we're in Kumasi. He said it. And at the moment, you see, we are supposed to have been part of most of these Galamsey operations. So that when weapons are seized there and there, my team would take the biodata of the weapon. Because one of the things my commission does best is tracing weapons. So we are able to tell that this weapon was manufactured in 1910.
Right.
It's somewhere in the former Soviet Union. And the company that manufactured it is gone defunct. But at the moment, the weapons are seized, and sometimes we don't know what happens. I mean, I know a lot about these things, but the position I find myself now,
you have to be measured.
I need to be measured.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that something significant is being done, and that has to do with getting my numbers up. I've spoken to my minister about,
how many staff do you need to carry out effective, oversight over this space as a commission? Minimum,
as of today or yesterday, I need additional 750 people to be recruited.
750?
750.
But you say currently you are about 100?
About 100, less than 100. Less than 100, about 750 to be able to perform this. The reason is that we need to be embedded in Galamsey operations.
Currently, you're not doing that.
The Ashanti Regional Minister, the Captain Retired Jabari, who is the Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator, is working with my team is actually embedded in their team. But it is not nationwide. It is something that we are still working on and having conversations to see, because at the end of the day, you see, you can't just send your team there. They need to be attired well. They need to have bulletproof and have all the things.
Do you have all those gadgets at the
Well, once we are being deployed, we are supposed to have them. And so it's not everything I can say.
Yeah.
But a minimum of that number is
750.
750. A minimum of that number to be added. And unfortunately, I think not much was done in the previous administration. Next to nothing was done. Not that, because I worked every day.
You said nothing was done by the previous administration. Explain.
Listen, my office, I've moved to another office now. My current office where I'm supposed to have been working in is leaking. When it's raining, it rains on you.
You mean as the acting
yes,
executive?
I've moved to another place now. But
the previous one where you were supposed
to Exactly. Do you get what I'm trying? And so things were just haphazard. It's not because I'm part of the current dispensation.
Right.
But I advised a lot of, the security. I used to work with a lot of the security ministers in the past. And these are things I shared with them freely. Do this, do this, do this, do this.
So
this arms bill that we are waiting to be passed. I spoke to the security ministers. I had conversations with them. And the need to get it done. And unfortunately, it was never done. And I asked myself, this bill is not taking your power away from you. The minister of the The Minister of the Minerals Commission, or what, the Lands and Natural
Resources Minister.
You don't have the what do you call the Minerals Commission? The Minerals Commission don't have the power to grant licenses. Do they do that? They do things and make sure they do regulation, isn't it? They regulate.
So, but this commission, what it means that if this bill is passed into law, you now will be fully in charge of giving licenses to people who want to possess these arms.
Partially, partially. Sidearms, what do you call it? Shotguns and the rest.
Right.
And so we would be in charge of the database. Would they be in charge of a lot of the things that at the moment we seem to have lost control when it comes to firearms.
You also said the previous government did not do much.
No, I mean, as for that, I can tell you.
So can we link the numbers we are seeing in terms of the illicit, arms in the system to the little they did in that era? If maybe the past 8 years they did something better, do you think the situation will be any different today?
It would have been very different. I'm telling you for sure.
You believe that?
It would have been so different. There would have been a significant improvement. I'm a major stakeholder, even though now I'm part of government. I've been a major stakeholder for many years in this country, and probably even advising other places in other countries.
What are some of the things they should have done?
Some of the things they should have done, first of all, look at the offices not properly, functional. Secondly, less staff in various locations. So some of the areas we are supposed to be working 24/7, you can only work up to a time and close. And these areas are working 24/7. Significantly, the bill that should have been passed. And this bill was not, the funny thing, the bill was not sponsored by government of Ghana. The bill was sponsored by BICC, the Germans, ECOWAS, EU, UNDP, and all these agencies. Sierra Leone, Liberia came to Ghana to come and learn, and they passed the bill. You saw the data. 215 gun-related violence or deaths in Sierra Leone or is it Liberia. Even Liberia didn't feature. If anybody had told you that Liberia after the war would have less gun violence than Ghana, that has never seen any civil disobedience, would you believe it?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
They came here, and I know they are the head of their commission because I've been with them, and for some reason...
So you think it's political commitment to dealing with the situation?
Yes. Previously, I think the commitment to deal with this canker was zero.
Right. We have millions of these illicit arms in the system. What strategy would your commission use to actually claim or get some of these arms back?
What we are doing, once our bill is passed, I can't discuss all the strategies with you, but some of them. Recently, we are at the Bobu Wulomos Palace, where in Kumasi. One of the things we are doing is collaborating with, the various security agencies. We want to operationalize our activities where we are able to go into these areas and get people to call us and let us know who has a weapon, who has no weapon.
You think that's going to be so easy?
Well, it might not be easy, but even if every day we get a call from one person who says there's a weapon here and we retrieve it, every day, that is going to be about 366 weapons we retrieve in a year. That would have been in the hands of wrong people. Secondly, those festival firers, those who fire at festivals and all that, one thing we are trying to do with the traditional councils and the chieftaincy institution and, various sectors is to start marking these weapons.
You mean the musketry?
Yes, start marking them. Because then, in the past, it was just gunpowder charged, you fire.
And we saw what happened to Kofi Adoma.
Today, even that, but today we see pump action with BB cartridges that can shoot repeatedly like an assault rifle. 12 rounds. 12 rounds. And you see, an AK...
And these are being used at festivals?
A pump action gun is more deadly, depending on how you use it, than an AK-47. A pump action gun. Because you have pellets in the BB cartridge. And so, depending on the distance, if you fired it, you can hit probably 10 people at a go.
Okay.
An AK-47, if you fire, chances are that 1 or 2 people will go down.
So what would you want done with regards to this festival?
What we are doing is to mark this weapon. It's something we have started. We've had some conversations with my minister. We are going to start with the Gbobu Ulomos Palace, where we are going to mark them in a manner that if they...
To know the number of arms that Gbobu Ulomo, for instance, has in their armory.
Apart from that, if they have a festival, let's say Homowo or weddings and activities, and you have to be part of the FARS.
Okay, you get all those people registered.
We'll register you. The weapon is marked in a way that from a distance, we are able to tell that this weapon is one of the weapons we have coded. Right. We give you an attire that signifies that you are qualified to fire.
So no more...
So you can't infiltrate, but you see, it comes with the need for resource. We don't have all the resource, like I told you.
Because I was going to ask you, with less than 100 staff,
well, you see,
when festivals are happening across the country, how are you able to monitor all of this?
Now, I have to probably talk less and do more.
But what we want to pick tonight, so now we'll come to the resources, is that this festivals across the country, you're going to be working with traditional authorities.
Exactly.
To ensure.
Together with the police, national security, NIB, it's a collaborative effort. Ours is to make sure that we initiate it and get these things going.
What is the objective?
The objective is to ensure that we don't get bad people coming in with unlicensed and unmarked weapons, because we don't want to see. Can you imagine, touch wood, if Kofi Adoma, the gunpowder that hit him was a BB cartridge?
What would have happened?
I mean, you know, BB cartridge, lethal. Gunpowder, it was because he was very close to the action. That is why the charged powder, gunpowder, went into his eyes.
Right.
But with BB cartridge, I mean, it would have just probably would have been singing a different story today. This is how dangerous these lethal bullet and weapons are. And so ours is to ensure that gradually, it won't be a walk in the path.
Right.
It's not going to be a walk. It's difficult. You see, with my skeletal staff all over the country, overstretched, you know, I told my minister.
You keep hammering on.
No, I'm hammering on that.
What is the budgetary allocation to your commission, for instance?
You want me to tell you that?
Yeah, I'm interested because we want to fight a canker.
Well, you see, so I wish I didn't tell you that.
But I'm interested. I want to know.
Well, it's something of public knowledge. I mean, so it is less than 5 million.
5 million Ghana cedis.
Yes.
Per annum.
Per annum, yes.
Now you're looking at 750 staff.
No, that is for capex and goods and services. As for salaries and the rest is different.
Okay.
But mine is that, you see, you can't actually quantify security.
Yeah, sure.
You can't quantify security. I would not want to put a figure on the job I do. So I've told my staff, don't come and tell me we don't have money, so the work will not be done. And they know. Okay,
quickly, let's go to Bawku, for instance. What is happening in Bawku, the security situation? What would you want to blame it on? Is it part of this illicit arms?
Exactly. I was part of the team that went to Bawku, the government delegation that went to Bawku in the last administration. We got there, listen, the guys have weapons everywhere. But there was a promise for certain things to be done. We came back to Accra. We gave them 3 months. And they told us that no gunshots would be heard in Bawku. For the 3 months, no gunshot was heard in Bawku.
So what went bad then?
We didn't go back. The government reneged from going back to Bawku.
The previous government?
Yes, reneged. And I kept asking them, why are we not following on whatever the promise? I asked the former Minister of Defense, Nitiu, I asked Ambrose, I asked, then Dampare was part of the team. There's all the security couples. Listen, we left Accra at dawn, got to Tamale, they picked us with the helicopter to the 11th Mechanized Team in Baku, and we were guided like we were in Sudan somewhere.
Okay.
We met the Kusasis, we met the Mamprusis. You see, the people that are not bad people.
About the Baku situation?
We
disarming or what?
No, disarming is important. I have said it repeatedly that take away arms from Galamsey areas, take away arms from conflict, chieftaincy, landguardism, and disconquer, and banditry, those who do carjacking. It will be a thing of the past. Once there is firearm in these communities and we are not stopping the flow and not collecting what is there and it's becoming worse, the situation can only get worse. And so mine is that now I've been put in a position where I have a bigger role to play by ensuring that we all, we rally around.
Right.
And my team, fortunately, I have a very positive, forward-looking team at the commission. And fortunately, I also have a very good minister who has promised that, things are going, things are going to improve. And so mine is that give us probably May, June.
Okay.
And let's have this conversation again.
But then we would have gotten the
I'm hoping,
the bill passed.
Fingers crossed, we would have gotten the bill passed.
1 second, these 750 people who you want to employ, what kind of qualifications do they need?
Oh, first degree.
Right.
Because for our type of job, we will take, less senior high school because our job is at a certain level. And so we will take less senior high school students, but majority of them will be a minimum of first degree. We've done the statistics. I think we've written through my minister to finance, and we are going to be following up to make sure this is done so that when you call me here again, you say, oh, Dr. Bona, it's no longer lip service.
All right.
The work is being done.
Thank you so much.
It's
been great speaking to you. And this has been The Probe. We've been looking into the gun violence situation in this country and the challenges it poses to national security. This has been The Probe. My name is Carlos Kaloni. Thank you so much for watching. Catch us next week, same time here on Joy News Channel. Bye-bye.